Hey there guys, how's it going? Chillingworth here, hope you are well, hope you're doing good. I wanted to do a quick video today. I've literally just got up, literally woken up, walked down to the cabin where I spend my days now. It's starting to turn into a cabin, starting to look really nice. Got a nice new wooden flooring, most of the ceiling's done, the walls are nearly done, the board games are in, the books are in. Bits of furniture in. I've got a game table here which I built personally, which I'm very proud of, and it's got little cup holders on it and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I've got a load of guys coming over for a poker game pretty soon, which is going to be wicked. I just need to get some seats for it now, some stools of some sort. But yeah, I'm here, and I wanted to do a really quick video because I did a video a little while ago, right? And I said I was talking about the book that I was writing, and some guy, some joke, turned around and said, this guy is always writing a book. He never releases anything. Nothing ever gets done with this guy, this sort of thing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here is my new book. It is out. It's my first ever published book. It's the real McCoy, the real deal printed book you can buy from Amazon today. Sold over 100 copies of this already, which is pretty sweet. I'm really happy with that because essentially this is why I wrote this book. And I'll tell you about this book in a moment. So I've always wanted to write a book. It's always been part of what I wanted to do, part and parcel of me and some of the life goals, I suppose, that we all have. And for me, I wanted to write a book. I've always enjoyed writing, even since the days at school when my teacher used to say, F, try harder, sort of thing. I always used to think, but I love writing. I'm obviously rubbish at it, but I love writing. And all my life, I've wondered, what could I write about? Because I don't really know anything, and I'm not really very clued up. Well, over the last 8 years now, I have made a massive change in direction in my life, and I've started to study and learn stuff that I'm genuinely interested in. I've started to take action, to get off my butt and start learning stuff that I'm particularly interested in. And when you do that, you accumulate knowledge, you accumulate ideas and techniques and strategies that you can put into place in your own life and see if they work. Well, I have been doing that, and I've transformed my finances significantly to the point where I'm earning 5 times that I used to, how much I used to earn working for other people, where I'm financially in the wealthiest position I've ever been in terms of my investments and my assets that I own, and the way that I'm investing that money. And I have picked up a load of these ideas. Now, I used to coach an American football team, and as a head coach of that team, which I did for a little while, about 3 or 4 years, I used to get players coming over to where I lived, and they would come around in the evenings and want to talk to me. And half the time it was, I've got major financial issues, I want to lose weight, I've got relationship problems with my other half. These were personal issues. Very rarely were they anything to do with American football. And I was more than happy to take on that role of helping these people out, even though I always, would say to these guys, listen, I don't know everything about this sort of stuff. I'm certainly not, the best person to speak to when it comes to relationship advice and stuff like that. But having been a divorced man, and still being a divorced man, I should say. But I had these ideas that I've been picking up from books and stuff like that, and I was sharing that with these guys, and I saw some massive success, or they saw some massive success in certain areas, and certainly one of those areas that I've really been able to help people in over the years is with their finances and with managing their money. And one thing that, this book goes through many different ideas. It's only 150 pages. You could read this in a day or two. It's not a huge book, but it's large enough to be, proud of. It's got some really great ideas in here. Stuff that I've picked up over the years that you don't get taught at school. No one ever taught me anything in here. So I spent the first 30 years of my life, literally, I was on 40 grand a year, which isn't bad. That's not bad money, right? When you're earning 40 grand a year working for someone else, I was an operations manager, teaching people fraud investigation techniques and lie detection techniques. That was my job. But I was earning 40 grand a year. Once you've taken tax and national insurance off that and you split that over to 12 months, my monthly income would come in and go out again within the same month, and I would have nothing left at the end of every month. and I just wasn't going anywhere. And I was annoyed, I was depressed, I was frustrated, I never had enough money. Every time I got a pay rise, I was thinking this is the answer, and it never was, because once you know, even if you get 2k pay rise, once you've taken national insurance and tax off that and split it by 12 months, it doesn't really have any impact on your life. It really doesn't change your life that much. You might get an extra £100 a month sort of thing, and it's just not enough. And I was frustrated, and I knew there was more out there, but I couldn't work out how to get there. And I'd never been taught the skills by school, by my parents, by anybody I knew, by my friends. All my friends were relatively low income people. I had no way of working out how to get out of this, because you don't know what you don't know, right? So there are plenty of ways to get out of that, but if you don't know what they are, you don't even know where to look to find this stuff, okay? And you're not even aware of their existence half the time. And so I started reading books. I started studying how to make more money, how to grow wealth. Obviously, I started trading the stock market, and I started to invest my money. And over the last 8 years, I've made a massive transformation in my wealth, my finances, my situation. I work for myself. I work out of this self-built cabin that I've made. My commute is a walk down the garden, basically. I got tea and coffee on tap. I can stop work whenever I want. Tomorrow, for example, 3 p.m, I'm going to pick up my stepdaughter from school. We're going to the cafe. I'm just going to spend some quality time with her. I can just do that whenever I want, So my life is stress-free. I have everything I need. I've got plenty of money. I'm doing great, right? And I want to share some of that stuff with people, because here is the problem, and here is the thing that I found. And you have to forgive the aeroplanes that are flying over, because I live right next to a small craft airport, and so we get Cessnas flying over every 10 minutes or so. But in this book, one of the key rules that I teach in this, and it's literally the first rule, it's the starter rule, and then there's loads more on top of this, basically. But we've got financial breakdowns and stuff like that, how to distribute your cash, what to do with it, this sort of stuff. And in this book, one of the first rules that I teach is, look, if you've got 2k a month coming in, what most people are doing is they are spending that £2,000 a month. They are finding ways to live on that 2k, right? And that's their limit. That's the most they can do. So they can't get a more expensive house. They can't get a nicer car. They can't spend more on food, because they've only got £2,000 to spend, and they're currently spending all of that already, and they're left with nothing at the end of the month. Right, here is one way out of that, and it's the best way I've ever found, and it worked wonders for me. I've seen it work wonders for other people. If you read any books on the way the rich get richer and all that kind of stuff, this is how they do it, and this is the only way to do it. And no one's ever taught me this stuff, which is why I've started to put this stuff in a book. And I'll tell you why I wrote this book in a moment properly. But so this rule is essentially, well, if you've got this 2k coming in, what you want to do is you need to be taking about 15% of that out and putting it to one side. And the concept here is you pay yourself first. So of that £2,000, at the moment you're paying the landlord or whoever you're paying your mortgage to, the bank. You're paying the supermarket for your groceries. You're paying the energy suppliers. You're paying the council. You're paying all these other people first with your money, and you're keeping none left for yourself. And you need to flip that over. Instead, you should be taking a cut of your money every month, and at least 15% of what you earn should be yours to keep. Just that concept alone is a game changer for many people. May not be for you. You may have heard this before. You may already be living this. But there are a huge percentage of people out there that I've met, a huge percentage that I haven't met, that are living in this way where they're bringing in 2k and they're spending 2k. Well, instead of that, what I'm suggesting, and what this first rule in this book suggests, is this is how to do it. This is how to get out of that cycle that you're constantly stuck in. And this book walks you through that whole process of how to get out of this cycle where you've got money coming in and it's all going out and you've got nothing left. You're not growing, you're not progressing, you're not getting anywhere. Take 15% of what you earn as yours to keep and learn to live off the other 85%. Now, this is difficult because you've got to make a sacrifice. You're going to have to cut costs. You're going to have to live in a smaller house for a little while, maybe get a cheaper car, find a way to live on just 85% of what you earn instead of 100%. Because what you're going to do is that 15% is going to be put away somewhere, okay? And you're going to put that money away and then use it to make more money. But that takes time. It takes a few months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. But after a year, once you've been putting that 15% in a pot and putting it to work to make more money for you, your income level goes up. So now you're earning £2,500, right? So now your cost of living can go from whatever it was, £1,800 or whatever it was at 85%, but now it can go back up to £2,000. So within a year, you're back to where you started. Here's the difference. Now you're earning more. Now you've got more income coming in. And so but you're continuing to put 15% of that aside, and you're growing. And every year your income increases because you're putting that money to work. You're investing it somehow in quick returns. And the best returns, and I talk about this in the book, the best place to invest that money is not in the stock market, not for short-term gain. For me, the best place to put that money if you want to grow your income instantly is to invest in yourself. I know that sounds cheesy, but one of the best places you can invest your money for quick growth is learning new skills, learning how to grow new businesses, learning how to add value to the world, add tools to your belt and add value. And that's essentially what this book is all about, how to take that 15% that I teach you to put aside and put it to work and make it grow and increase your income. It's the quickest way to increase your income, because you can't rely on your boss to give you enough pay rises to get you into a place of wealth. It's never going to happen. Your boss is just not going to do that for you. And so you've got to find a way to take a chunk of your money, live off the rest temporarily for a short time, which means you're going to cut what you're spending right now every month. But if you can put that money to work and make it grow and get returns and increase your income that's coming in. That could be adding skills, that could be starting new businesses, that could be starting side hustles or side businesses, whatever. Or even get promotions of some sort, I suppose, to a certain extent, or change jobs or whatever it might be, retrain up into certain things. But you can increase your income, and then that 15% you're putting aside gets to grow, but also your cost of living, the 85% that you live off, gets to grow as well. And so you will find that in 5-10 years, your whole life is different. You'll have so much more money. Your income will be far substantial to what it is right now. You'll be able to afford that expensive car. You'll be able to afford that expensive house. But you have to make the sacrifice at the beginning to go from spending 100% of what you're earning to only 85% of what you're earning, so that you can put that 15% to work to make more income, so that 85% cost of living grows with you. And so, when you want that new car, in 3 or 4 years' time, your 85% you're living off is far substantially higher than it is right now. You can afford that stuff, and still afford to be putting 15% aside. That's the concept, right? It's the money machine that grows money, and it works. Actually works, guys. So I wrote this book. Now, like I said, I've always wanted to write a book. I never really knew what to write a book about. I started to invest in myself, and I lived this concept. And I made money, and I started to invest in my own skills and abilities. And I learnt this stuff to the point where I'm confident enough about it that it works, that I could write a book about it. And finally, I've got to write my book. Now, I've got other books I want to write. I want to write a book on trading. I want to write a book on spread betting. I want to write a book on trading psychology. I'm also going to be writing a book on how to find your life's purpose, how to find the work that you're ideally suited towards doing. Because I meet many traders who are sick of their jobs and they're looking at trading full-time as they're out, and that's going to take a very long time to get to the point where you can trade full-time. And some people will never get to that stage. And so they're going down the wrong path right now. And so I'm going to write a book that's going to show those guys how to find the work they're supposed to be doing. This is another subject that I've been studying now for the last 5-6 years. I'm adding value. I'm adding tools to my belt, you see. I've invested my time and my money into learning this stuff so that I can add more value in the world. And I'll increase my income off the back of helping those people. Absolutely. But for my first book, I thought to myself, what do I want to do? Do I want to do something simple or something that really means something to me? And, my first book was going to be a trading book, but I wanted to experiment and see, 1, could I write a good book? 2, what process am I going to use to get it published? You know, all of these little unknowns. I'd never published a book before. I had no idea about how to churn a book out, or write a book, or get it proofread. So this was really an experiment, right? This was an experiment. This was book number 1. I don't know if you can see that there. This is book number 1. I'm planning on doing an entire series of these books, and they're all going to be very uniform, and they're all going to cover these different subjects that I'm talking about, right? So this is book number 1 of the series. I've already started writing book number 2, so that's not going to be long behind it. But I put it out there, and I did the whole process. I got it proofread. I uploaded it through into Amazon, and I got all the barcodes sorted out and everything. I did it all myself. I learned how to do all of this myself, and I got it out there. And it's a self-published book, and it sells for £10 on Amazon. And it is absolutely worth the money, I assure you. This book is full chock block of my way of explaining this concept to people, because I like to simplify things. I like to make things uncomplicated for the common man, if you will, and explain this concept. Now, if you go on Amazon and you type in the clean guide to making more money, or just type in making more money, or type in Chris Chillingworth, you will find this book on Amazon. And I think we've got almost 5 stars. We've got 10 reviews so far, all 5 stars, from people that have kindly left a review on Amazon and told us how great they think this book is, which is awesome. The reviews are superb. Couldn't get my words out then. Superb. Some people have said, this is a must-have book that you must buy. And that's such a nice thing for people to say, because I put my heart and soul into this. I spent a lot of time writing this, putting everything I learned and knew into this, making sure that it was structured in the best possible way, making sure it wasn't too long that people would just never get to the end of it, and I think I've done exactly what I wanted to do. I've created a long-lasting book of real knowledge that's going to help people and change people's lives. It's not too long to read. It's only going to take you maybe 2 days to get through all this. It's a relatively large font, so it's not going to take too long. It's got some real practical exercises in there. There's some resources on my website that you can then go and use after you finish the book. And yeah, I just wanted to let all those haters know that I have a new book out, and it's finally out, and I'm very proud of it. And this is one of many. I'm going to have many of these books out because I have the bug now. I really enjoyed putting this together. It is a life goal of mine to write a book. Now I've done one, I'm like, right, now I want a series of these things out there. So yeah, it's all part of my journey. I've been doing this now for 8 years. Started off writing this little blog that only a few people were reading. Then the blog got big. Then I put a course together. Then it all kind of steamrolled. 2018, I was standing in front of 1,000 people at London Westminster at a seminar with Vince Stanzione, talking about trading with people, and people were queuing up outside the toilets waiting for me to finish peeing so they could speak to me, because they've been trying to chase me around the building all day, not being able to get to me. It was like being a celebrity for the day, and it was awesome. And I met people there, UK actors from very well-known UK soaps that suddenly became my clients. People who I never would have thought would have wanted to work with me came and started to work with me, and they still are today. And it was a life-changing event, and I would never have got to that point had I not invested in myself, started to learn new skills and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I have a book, and I'm pretty proud of it, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, guys.